You're staring at your laptop screen. The cursor blinks mockingly at you. You know exactly what you need to do to finish that project. Apply for that job. Start that creative pursuit you've been dreaming about. But instead, you're frozen. Not by laziness, by something deeper. Something that whispers, what if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if everyone sees you're just pretending? If that voice sounds familiar, you're not alone. And you're definitely not broken. I'm Tony, and I've spent years exploring the quiet spaces where fear and procrastination meet. Not as someone who's figured it all out, but as someone who sat in that same uncomfortable chair, feeling the weight of anxiety pressing down on his chest, wondering why just do it never actually worked. Today, we're going to explore 3 science-backed approaches that changed everything for me and might just change everything for you too. Because here's what I've learned. Anxiety procrastination isn't a character flaw. It's your brain trying to protect you in the only way it knows how. But first, let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah is a graphic designer in her early 30s. Talented, creative, full of ideas. But every time she sits down to work on her portfolio, one that could land her dream job, she finds herself reorganizing her desk, checking email, or suddenly remembering that her bathroom grout needs attention. Sound familiar? Sarah isn't lazy. She's terrified. Terrified that her work won't be good enough, that she'll be exposed as a fraud, that years of education and experience will crumble the moment someone really looks at what she's created. This is anxiety procrastination, and it's one of the most misunderstood struggles we face. Most advice tells you to just push through or use more willpower. But here's what neuroscience research tells us. When anxiety drives your procrastination, willpower is like bringing a butter knife to a gunfight. You're not fighting laziness, you're fighting your brain's ancient survival system. Dr. Joseph Ledoux's research on fear processing shows us that when we perceive even the threat of failure or judgmentor, amygdala hijacks our prefrontal cortex. In plain English, your fear center overrides your thinking center. No amount of just do it can fix that. So what can? Let me share the 3 strategies that helped Sarah finally submit her portfolio and got her the job. The first strategy is what I call diagnose before you design. Most of us try to solve procrastination with generic productivity hacks. But anxiety procrastination isn't like other types of procrastination. It's not about time management or motivation. It's about fear. Here's what changed everything for Sarah. Instead of fighting her procrastination, she started getting curious about it. She asked herself, what exactly am I afraid of? For Sarah, it wasn't just fear of failure, it was fear of success. What if she got the job and couldn't live up to expectations? What if she was happier where she was, struggling but safe? This is what psychologists call approach avoidance conflict, when we want something and fear it at the same time. Research from UCLA shows that simply naming our fears reduces their power over us by up to 50%. Try this. Next time you feel that familiar anxiety procrastination spiral, don't fight it. Get curious. Ask yourself, what story is my fear telling me? Write it down. Don't judge it. Just see it. Maybe you're afraid of being judged. Maybe you're afraid of discovering you're not as capable as you thought. Maybe you're afraid of taking up space, of being seen, of mattering. Whatever it is, name it. Because you can't heal what you won't acknowledge. The second strategy builds on the first. Design your brave, not your perfect. Once Sarah understood her fear, she realized something profound. She wasn't procrastinating because she was lazy. She was procrastinating because she was aiming for perfect. And perfect is the enemy of done. Here's where the science gets interesting. Research from Brené Brown's work on vulnerability shows us that perfectionism isn't about high standards, it's about fear of judgment. When we try to be perfect, we're really trying to be invulnerable. But here's the paradox. The very thing that makes us procrastinate or fear of imperfection is also what makes us human. And humans don't produce perfect work. We produce brave work. So Sarah did something radical. Instead of trying to create the perfect portfolio, she set a brave standard. She would submit something that was 80% of what she wanted it to be. Not because she was settling, but because she was choosing courage over comfort. This isn't about lowering your standards. It's about raising your tolerance for imperfection. It's about understanding that done is better than perfect, and that most of our failures are actually just feedback in disguise. Here's your brave challenge. Think of something you've been putting off because it needs to be perfect. Now ask yourself, what would 80% look like? That's your brave standard. That's where you start. The third strategy is the game changer. Do it scared, together. This one surprised me. Sarah's breakthrough didn't come from working alone in her anxiety. It came from what researchers call social accountability, but not the kind you might think. She didn't just tell someone about her goal. She invited her friend Maya to sit with her while she worked. Not to help, not to judge, but just to be present, to witness her process without trying to fix it. There's something powerful about being seen in our struggle. Neuroscientist Dr. Daniel Siegel calls this feeling felt the experience of having another person truly understand your internal experience. When we feel felt, our nervous system literally calms down. But here's the crucial part. Sarah didn't just work with Maya watching. She worked with Maya sharing her own fears. Maya talked about her anxiety around starting her own business. They didn't solve each other's problems, they just held space for each other's humanity. This is what psychologists call parallel processing, working on your individual challenges while being supported by someone doing the same. It's not about getting advice or being fixed. It's about not being alone in your struggle. Research from the University of Colorado shows that when we work on challenging tasks with supportive social presence, our stress hormones drop by 68%. We literally become braver when we're not alone. So here's your invitation. Find someone who gets it, someone who's also wrestling with their own version of fear and procrastination. Don't try to fix each other. Just show up, be present, work scared together. And here's what happened to Sarah. She submitted her portfolio on a Tuesday afternoon, heart pounding, hands shaking. It wasn't perfect, it was brave. And 3 days later, she got the job. But here's the real victory. She didn't just get a job, she got her life back. She learned that she could feel afraid and take action anyway. She discovered that imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. Let me tell you something I wish someone had told me years ago. Your procrastination isn't your enemy, it's your messenger. It's telling you that something matters to you so much that you're afraid to mess it up. That's not weakness. That's caring. That's being human. The goal isn't to eliminate fear. The goal is to stop letting fear make your decisions for you. To diagnose what's really going on, design your brave instead of your perfect, and do it scared with someone who gets it. You're not behind, you're not broken, you're not lazy. You're just someone who cares deeply about something that matters, and your brain is trying to protect you in the only way it knows how. But protection without progress isn't protection, it's a prison. And you already have the keys. So here's my challenge for you. Think of one thing you've been procrastinating on because you're afraid it won't be good enough. Now ask yourself, what would brave look like? Not perfect, brave. Drop one word in the comments, just one word that describes what you're afraid of when you think about taking action. Maybe it's judgment, maybe it's failure, maybe it's success. Whatever it is, name it. Because when we name our fears together, they lose their power to isolate us. And remember, you're not alone in this. Every single person watching this video has felt the sting of anxiety procrastination. Every single person has stared at a blank page, an empty canvas, an unsent email, wondering if they're brave enough to be seen. You are. Not because you're perfect, because you're human. And humans are designed to be brave, not perfect. I'm Tony. Your story isn't over. It's just getting braver.